This has been a Clear Springs Entertainment production. On this episode of Parx-e Trip Across America. For Chris Parke, America is a way of life for him. He loves to go back every chance he can get, to meet new people and to catch up with old friends. So for 5 weeks, he explored America again. And along the way, he interviewed some cool people and explored some cool new cities. From New Zealand to America, watch as he explores America and interviews some cool people. This is Parx-e Trip Across America.
You've had vocal surgery.
Yes, I have.
How come you had that?
Well, I had nodules on my vocal cords, and what those are is like basically, it's like a callus on your vocal cords, like you might get from lifting weights. And so what that can do is, I've now learned, when your vocal cords come together, they're supposed to hit like this, really pretty and straight. When you get a callus, they can the calluses hit first. So you get a lot of breath, you lose some support, you lose some control. And over the past maybe year, I've been having trouble singing with as much clarity and control as I normally can. And I'm really lucky that I was able to go to some great doctors and they diagnosed the issue really quickly. And I have a lot of new music I've been working on, and we're about to do a big push to release things. And I decided that I wanted to take care of these issues now, so that when I go on tour and all that stuff, I don't have to worry about it. And the surgery went really great, as you can hear in my voice, and we should be good to go pretty soon.
So you have to, obviously you can't speak as much as you'd like because you've got to look after your voice. So what have you've just been taking it easy and making sure you've been taking steps that you don't overdo it?
Well, it's like any other surgery. You know, if you're an athlete and you tear your ACL and you go and have surgery to fix that, you might be able to walk on your leg after a week or two, but you're not going to go back into a professional NBA game after 2 weeks. You're going to be with physical therapists and stretching and strengthening, and so that's the stage I'm in right now. I can talk, but in terms of strengthening and making sure that I don't get back into this position, I'm with a different team of doctors right now, doing that and making sure that in a month or two, when I can get back to singing full-time professionally, that there's no issues.
So what have you been working on recently that you're planning to get out there?
Oh gosh, I've been working on a really, really new sound, very, very different than the stuff that I've been doing before. I'm still working with my producer and guitarist Charles, whom you've all probably seen on my social media if you check that out, because I've been working with him for years. But we decided to go in a completely different direction. My stuff before has been very acoustic, very real instrument based. And I really wanted to go in a different direction and really embrace the other sounds that are open to you when you produce with mostly a computer. And so yeah, we've been working on some stuff that I've written about the past year. I'm really excited for people to hear it.
Cool. So how is it different from your early material?
I would say lyrically, if you're a fan and you enjoy melodies and the lyrics, a lot of that stuff's the same. I wrote the songs the same way with me and my guitar about something I was going through, but the way we're coming at it from a production standpoint is really different. We're basically abandoning the guitar when we begin the production. It used to be that I would start with the piano and the guitar and we'd build a production around that, add drums, add bass, that stuff. But we're really going the opposite way. We're putting down the vocal and we're experimenting with what's that first sound going to be, because it doesn't have to be a guitar. And there is guitar in some of my tracks, but it hasn't been the focus. And it's really let us explore what other sounds can support the emotion of this song other than piano and guitar.
Cool. So do you think your songwriting has changed?
Yeah, I think, I went to Berklee College of Music. I was a songwriting major, and there's this saying that everybody from Berklee says, they call it the Berklee slump. And it's the year after Berklee, a lot of people have a lot of difficulty writing because you feel a lot of pressure. You just went to music school and you come out and you want to do a really good job and you want to prove to yourself and prove to the world that it was worth it and you made the right decision. And that can kind of get in the way of your creative process. You worry, what if this song I'm writing today isn't the best song I've ever written, which is a horrible way to go about writing, because you can't control whether the song you write today will be the best song you've ever written. But I was kind of having difficulty with that for a few months, and then I went through some stuff personally that the way I've dealt with personal issues in my life has always been through writing music. And it was those issues that kind of snapped me out of that Berklee slump, because the first thing I did when I was sad was go and pick up my guitar, because I wasn't writing to prove to myself I could write. I wasn't writing to prove to the world I could write. I was writing because I had something to say. And ever since that experience, it really freed me up and opened me up to writing whatever comes to me that day. And so a lot of my material is a little bit different and tackles some things that aren't just breakups, or a lot of things that are more subtle as I'm becoming an adult. And your romantic life isn't like this so much anymore like it is when you're 16. So I've been writing about some things that take a little bit more maturity as I'm getting older.
Gotcha. So how important is for you social media?
Social media is super important. I run an anti-bullying campaign called the You Matter Tour, and a big part of what I talk to students about is how bad social media can be for our self-esteem. And it's a conundrum for me as a motivational speaker and as a singer-songwriter who takes her presence and being a positive influence very seriously. Social media is a bit of a conundrum because you want to have social media so you can interact with people and spread a positive message. But also, social media is kind of a black hole of self-esteem. And so that's something I've been thinking a lot about. I have a great new advisor who, we were reviewing my social media, and he said something great to me, which really helped me break out of the kind of social media black hole I was in, which was you should post for the fans you want, not the fans you have. And so because I'm a 25-year-old girl on social media, when I post a selfie, a lot of middle-aged men like that selfie. And I'm super happy to have middle-aged men fans. But they're posting it they're liking it not because they're a fan of my music. They're liking it because it's a selfie of a young girl. And when you chase likes, and you're like, oh, well, that selfie got a lot of likes, but this picture of me and my family didn't get as many likes. It can be subtly that I started posting more of the things that were getting me likes. And what this advisor said to me is, that's not who you are. Who you are is the picture of you with your family. who you are is the picture of you with your fans. And who cares if it doesn't get as many likes? That's the image that you want to project to your young fans who you are influencing by what you're posting. And that really helped me break out of that cycle, and has helped me have a clearer vision of what I want to do with my social media.
So you think this movement that was started by Harvey Weinstein, do you think that was going to help change the way things are going to be in and music and probably the film industry?
You know, I hope so. I think it's been really interesting as somebody in the entertainment industry. You know, luckily, I think I fared better than some women, but I have had my fair share, even in my limited amount of time in this industry, my fair share of negative experiences with men who are more powerful than me in this industry. You know, I think it's bringing light, not to just that, you know, men shouldn't do those things. The men I associate with, at least I think, don't do those things. But I'm also interested in the second tier conversation, which is that after I had bad experiences at Berkeley, you know, men saying, oh, let's work together, and they actually were just inviting you over for a drink. They had no interest in working with you. And having those experiences when I was young and naive and excited about music at 18, and realizing that these people who were supposed to be my peers sometimes saw me as not a peer, but just a conquest, has made me guarded. And I don't take the kinds of meetings that my male peers take. I don't go over to somebody's apartment at 8 o'clock. I insist on a coffee meeting outdoors at 10 a.m. And what that does for my career and other women in my industry who make these kind of decisions as well to protect themselves, what it can do is it limits your opportunity. Because that meeting at 8 o'clock that is just after work and somebody might want to get together and write, most likely they just want to get together and write. But there's a little voice in the back of my head that says, maybe that's not what you shouldn't go, that sounds dangerous. Mm-hmm. And those are the invisible barriers in this industry that I think we really need to start talking about as an entire industry. It's these decisions women have to make to defend their own safety that men don't even think about. And I don't want men to have to think about it in terms of their own safety, but I do want them to think about it in terms of our safety and how they can help us feel more safe in this industry to have everybody be on a more level playing field.
Okay, I've got a couple more questions for you. What have you listened to recently that's inspired you?
Taylor Swift's new album. I've definitely been listening to it while going into production for my album. I just really think it's super cool how different this production is from 1989. Obviously, it's different from everything else she'd done, but 1989 was a massive change from her previous productions. And I think she made some really risky decisions with her production, which I really respect, because of course, right, she could go in and put out the same album every time and have it go #1 and sell 100 million copies, and that would be that and it'd be great. But I really respect that she's trying to reinvent her music, even having the most successful music arguably in the world. So I think that's really been inspiring to me.
Okay, so the last one I believe, this question is the one I referred to earlier before we before we started the interview. Have you ever bought an as seen on TV product before?
Yes, I have a great one. It's great. Everybody should go buy it. I think it was on Shark Tank, and then there was commercials on As Seen as TV. But it's this cloth, like snake. It looks like a snake.
Yep.
And you stuff it in between your seats in your car, so it fills, you know, the gap that your phone falls down in your car all the time? You stuff it in there, and it just fills it, and there's nowhere for your phone to fall. It's literally genius. I think every car should be produced with them, but they're great. They're like $10, and my mom got them for herself, and then ended up buying them for like everybody in the family because they were so great.
Like a lot of people, I love video games, and how convenient in New York, I found the ultimate video game shop, J&L Game. They have over 25,000 video games. I bought Double Dragon 2 from there. I was just like, whoa, Double Dragon 2 for Nintendo, I've always wanted that game. So I got it. I don't know how I'm going to get it to work on my PAL Nintendo, but it's Double Dragon 2. I had to have it. I had to have it. It was fantastic to get. And J&L Games in New York is a fantastic shop you should be checking out if you love rare and classic and legendary games. They probably will have it, and if not, I'm sure they can probably get it in for you. That shop rocked.
Chris would like to thank you for watching. He'd like to thank everyone who was interviewed and hung out with him, his family for letting him stay, and he'll see you again really soon. This has been a Clear Springs Entertainment production. Thanks for watching.